Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Fester's Quest for Nintendo Entertainment System, the PAL version. In the first episode, we beat our first boss, we got our health upgrade, and I talked about the things that made the PAL version easier. The fact that you can fire through walls, and not only that, but the fact that it also is... It basically plays like it's supposed to on PAL versions. You don't have a bad conversion of this game. You don't have weird black bars like you do with other PAL versions of NES games. And the action and the sound are at the proper speed. I do mention that. Anyway, now that we have our first clue after beating our first boss, we need to go down those stairs. Which means I need to equip my bulb, use one over here, and then fire away at all these heads and the worms that it create. Lest these worms turn into flies that will slow me down and force me to use a vice grip. Also, I do not want that gun downgrade, no matter what. It was also along the way, as we were playing through this game for one video, that we found out that enemies take far fewer hits to destroy. Nothing takes 8 zillion shots to kill anymore. Everything goes down in anywhere between 1 to 4 hits. And even the bosses themselves take far less damage compared to the United States version of the game. Anyway, now that we made it all the way over to here, we can pick up a whip upgrade that we don't need yet. And we'll also fire at a zillion frogs. Hopefully without grabbing a gun downgrade along the way. And if we can do things right, we can turn the corner here, and we can get to where we need to be, which is right here. Good, I didn't touch the downgrade. That is exactly how I wanted to do things. And this area usually has these little enemies that burrow out of the ground and try to make their way towards you. The little pink dome-shaped enemies. Now that I can fire through park benches, I can get rid of them super easily. And as I make sure that I have the bulb equipped, I'm going to drink some tea. Needed that. Let me get another drink real quick. Better. Alright. Let us go down here. And let us go ahead and follow the path. Shoot down the rat. Get some money. Why the rat has money, I'll never know. And we just need to keep following the path, and there are the snails. The snails turn into slimes when they are destroyed. And the slimes will, in turn, give you power-ups. A whole bunch of them. Of course, that's assuming you're playing the American version. Unfortunately for us, the slimes take only a few hits to kill, much as do the snails themselves. So we're not really going to get much out of the slimes unless we shoot down a whole bunch of them at once. And now that we've gone up these stairs, we need to equip the key and get the whip. We will need the whip for a couple things. Mainly to make a few bosses easier and also to give ourselves an alternate weapon. Though I think I'll find myself using the whip less often. And now let's go ahead and use the bulb. now that we have it equipped again, and follow the path to the next set of stairs. I got a key. Nothing else is in the way. I'm gonna get the key. And thankfully this is a very short path that takes us to yet another flight of stairs. Now it's time to shoot our way south. Hopefully, without giving ourselves too much of a problem. And now, okay, yeah, I do still have the bulb equipped. This is the part I say as I get another drink of tea, that I will be upgrading the whip to maximum level with all these slimes, even though it will be a little harder. Which means it's now... Really? I can't win no matter what I do. I really wanted that whip upgrade too. So while I'm trying to upgrade the whip, I'm going to explain the story of how I, PrinceWatercress, found myself extolling the virtues of the PAL version of Fester's Quest. A while back, I get on Twitter, first thing in the morning, like I do every day. And I got a notification from a Twitter account called Retro Game Geeks, where they showcase a game, not just a game, but a couple of games every day. And one of them on a certain day was Fester's Quest. They wanted to see if anybody remembered it and if anybody played it. I naturally shared my playlist for my Let's Play of Fester's Quest. The first one, of course, because this was back in... I made the first Fester's Quest Let's Play back in 2016, and this tweet happened before I remade Fester's Quest, obviously. Come on, game, really? So I shared my Let's Play to anybody who was interested on there, and the person behind the Retro Game Geeks account told me, "Nice job, considering that you had to use glitches." Not the exact words, but that was basically what the gist of what they were saying. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It was through the replies in that tweet that I found out that the PAL version, the European version, which was what we're playing right now, was different from the NTSC version in two specific ways. One is the one point that I've been mentioning constantly. You can shoot through walls. You don't have to position yourself in a weird way just to fire at enemies in narrow corridors. And it was also mentioned at least once that the game played at the proper speed on the NES in Europe. The PAL version was a proper PAL conversion. You didn't have any weird black bars. You didn't have any slowed down music or action. It played and sounded like the NTSC version, except it was easier. I should show off the whip, by the way. This is a level 1 whip. You can upgrade it up to 3 times. The leather whip isn't really all that exciting. Anyway, as I was saying, I found out about the game getting a good PAL conversion, and I found out that you could fire through walls. And finally, we have a level 2 whip, which gives us a chain whip. That's still not what we want, though. I still want a level 4 whip, because I want to get that as soon as possible, and I'd rather do it now than later. As I played the PAL version for the first time, I started seeing more differences. One, enemies don't take a zillion hits to kill. While this is a good thing in most aspects, you can't really get power-ups off the slimes anymore. So I just have to constantly fire like I have a turbo controller in my right thumb. Just pulling a Takahashi and shooting like 16 shots per second or something. And enemies having less health also extended to the bosses. I was honestly amazed at how much effort I had to put into the boss fights just to beat the bosses. Like, I knew what to do. Especially because I've played the NTSC version all the way through at least twice. A couple times, but at least twice for the channel now. But when I played the PAL version, I had to deal significantly less damage in order to defeat the bosses. The bosses has far less health here than they do in the United States NTSC version. And because of that, getting through this version and just playing it, well, getting through this game is pretty good, but just playing it is really good too. And here's the chain whip for level 3. I still want to get the level 4 whip. And the sooner, the better. As I was saying, I didn't have to shoot at the bosses all that much and use all of my items just to get through one boss battle. Everything was significantly easier. Fighting a frog is easier, fighting a slime is easier, fighting a head, whether it be floating or not, is easier. I'm pretty sure I won't have as hard a time on the final part of the game either. This is going to be a far more pleasant experience than playing the United States version of the game. By far. As for what I learned about the PAL version in that Retro Game Geeks thread, I found myself going to Wikipedia to see if the Wikipedia entry for Fester's Quest had anything to say about it, and yes, it does mention that you can fire through walls. It didn't mention that enemies had far less health compared to the United States version of the game. Oh no. They just mentioned you could fire through walls. That's it. So, that's pretty much how I found out about how good the PAL version of this game is compared to the there we go. This is how I found out about how good the PAL version is compared to the NTSC version. And there's the flame whip that I wanted. We finally have it. Now we can finally go down this path and we don't have to hunt down any any whip upgrades anymore. We have our max powered gun, we have our max powered whip. We are very good as far as weapons are concerned, provided we don't do anything immensely dense. And I'm glad that those dome enemies, those little pink dome enemies, take far less damage to destroy. And now, we have another building. Let us equip the key. I have 22 bulbs now. That's more bulbs than I need. Alright. Keep moving forward until you hit the wall. Turn left. Keep going forward until you hit the wall. Turn right. Keep moving forward until you hit the wall. Turn left. There's the door. And let us equip our maximum powered whip and our invisibility potions. Invisibility / invincibility. And go through the door. Now that we have invisibility potions and the whip, we just need one potion and a bunch of whip smacks with the max powered whip to just do this. Like I said, far less damage. And we have another clue as to where our brother Gomez has gone. Right there at the right third of the clue window. But we can't rest now, because we still have to go through more sewer areas and destroy more enemies just to get to Gomez. And once you go south, just keep going east once you go all the way south, and you'll reach these stairs. Alright, we have one more house to go to. And I want to make sure that I go to this house, because if you go into this house, if you go up to the door, you use a key, thing gives you missiles. We are going to need the missiles. Alright. Bulb. Got it. I think we're going to need... Yeah, we are going to need one more bulb to get through to where we need to go. There's still going to be one more underground area to go. And thankfully, this one does not have any enemies. So we can just leisurely stroll our way down the path, which is pretty straightforward. And we can get to these stairs. Alright. One more building. Let us destroy some enemies. We got a little bit of money out of that. And now we enter another building once we use the key on this door. Go all the way forward until you hit the wall. Turn left. Go all the way forward until you hit the wall. Turn left. Go all the way forward until you hit the wall. Turn right. And we're going to equip the missiles and see if we can't hit the enemy with the whip. Well, I guess I can't hit the enemy with the whip. So the missiles, you press B until you have what you want targeted. Then you press A, and that causes missiles to fly at the targeted target. After this guy, move them all the way to the top of the screen. Press B when the shield is targeted, then press A. Make sure you have the missiles equipped before you do this. And you'll just take them down. In the American version, that took a lot of missiles. In the PAL version, I only had to do it 3 times. That is a huge difference. And now we have another clue. This is really starting to look like a UFO. Spoiler alert. A UFO took Gomez. I mean, it was pretty much established at the beginning of the game, so it's not really much of a spoiler. Well, we still have a bit of a ways to go. And we will be doing some of that going in the next video. So join me next time where we explore more of the world of Fester's Quest and we take on some more bosses. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!